Hello, everyone. This is Monique Lynelle, and this is Monique Lynelle's Living with a Purpose blog. Today's topic for the Monday motivation is mindset, ready for the process. So, as I spoke last week about mindset and being focused, right? I went through a lot of processes or ways to get to a certain place. But preparing and getting ready for the process is what I want to speak about today. So, what that entails is okay, I'm going to use different analogies today. I'm going to give some examples. So, should I give an example of my own self? Let's see. Sometimes that's easy. Okay, so I'll give an easy example. So, um, when I decided I wanted to write a book, well, the first thing I did was I said, okay, I have a goal. I want to write a book. And my first book is called My Journey at 30. When I decided I wanted to write a book, of course, I already knew how to read and write. That might sound funny to me because I'm like, okay, that's a given. But you should be literate if you want to write a book. You should know how to read and write, and that's the first thing. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at myself. Okay. So I knew I wanted to write a book. I said, okay, so what do I need to do? I didn't have a blueprint for it, but I just knew I wanted to do it. So I said, I want to write about this year in my life. So while I was 29, I decided I wanted to do it. And I said, okay, well, I want to do it in like journal form. Like, I want to take an account of my day by day or day to day activity just to see what's going to happen in this year. And by the end of the year, I'll see if I want to keep it that way or if I want to, summarize or how I want to do it. But I know that I want to take account every day, like sort of journal and see what's going to come of it. So I bought books, just regular writing books, and I said, okay, these are going to be for my book. So I had to prepare, right? And I just kept doing it. I just stayed consistent and I wrote every day. And with doing that, later on when I wrote the chapters and wrote the books, I just sort of broke it down because it was a whole year. So I just went from October when my birthday was, and I went November, December, all the way until the next year. So along the way, I was able to do reflections because I did my reflections way after I had already written the day-to-day activities. Now this book is different than my other books, but I had to prepare some kind of way. And so at the time, I wish I had typed it up initially instead of writing it in books because I had to take everything that was written down in writing and I had to put it and type it and then have it edited later. And so the next time I did a book, I did it very, very, very differently, right? So my whole thing is you have to prepare for something, have it in your mind that this is what you want to do, and then start, right? I didn't really have a blueprint to go off of because I was it was it was really about my day-to-day activities, so I didn't know what was going to happen from one day to the next. So nobody else could really tell me how my day was going to go and do that structuring for me. It was just something I decided I wanted to do. I had no idea that that year would be the year that, okay, I'm going to be deploying. I'm going to be finishing my associate's degree. I was going to get pregnant, have a baby. My daughter died, which is horrible, and I'll talk about that another time. But my father died right after I got my associate's degree. I was able to still go. I was in Korea, and then I was able to go back to the States and actually, have my graduation. I was honorably discharged that year because after I had my daughter, I decided to get out, but I had re-enlisted while I was in Korea, so that's why I had to have a certain chapter, but I was still honorably discharged and did my full time that I needed to do in the military, in the army. And I went to Africa that year. I started my bachelor's at Temple University that year. I mean, so much stuff happened, but I couldn't have planned it the exact way that it went because one thing happened and it led to another thing. Things literally changed in my life that I had never planned for. So, the only thing that I could say in life, things happen, right? But the thing that I stayed stuck with is that I was still writing for the book because I said I was going to do that. So I kept journaling and I kept on writing and I kept on saying stuff. And some days got harder than others because of what I was dealing with, right? But I talked about my accounts in Africa. I talked about me starting a new school and then getting a new apartment and then moving from Korea to back to Texas and going from Texas and we got our at the time when I just started, I think that was in 2008 when I just started writing. So we had our first black president. It was so many things that were monumental during that time that I just was like, oh my goodness. I did not plan for it. I would have never known that so many historical things were going to happen, but it was around that same time. So at the end of the day, my point is when you're trying to do something and you have all of these different elements that's going on in life is not going to stop. But to prepare and be ready for what you're trying to do, what I did was stay steadfast on writing each day for the book that I didn't know was going to be published or put out and is still online today. And the preparation for it, I just bought some books at like Target and I had an idea and I said, I'm going to do this. And it took longer than I thought it was going to take. I had a website for a whole year and it said the book was coming soon. Because I was trying to finish typing it, getting it all together, and I was trying to finish my degree. And then my mother passed away. And so I said, okay, I'm just going to finish everything once I graduate, once I finish. So I ended up finishing